Hello? Hey everyone, welcome back to the Law of One Spiritual Advice Podcast. My name is Elle. I am back to read some Law of One quotes. So today I bring you a quote from Ra and then another extra quote to back it up. This one will be from session 95.24. I will first mention that if this material makes sense to you, you can find it at my website, theoneinfinitecreator.com, and there are links to all of it for free. And then, so this is from Ra, session 95.24. This is going to be generally about catalyst and seeking, and how even though you may be a seeker and you may be quite pure in that sense, and pure adept, if you will, you are still going to be subject to the catalyst of our third density. So let's just jump into it here. This is from Ra. The quote begins with, "The seeker which has purely chosen the service to others path shall certainly not have a variant apparent incarnational experience. There is no outward shelter in your illusion from the gusts, flurries, and blizzards of quick and cruel catalyst. However, to the pure, all that is encountered speaks of the love and light of the one infinite creator. The cruelest blow is seen with an ambience of challenges offered and opportunities to come. Thus, the great pitch of light is held high above such an one, so that all interpretation may be seen to be protected by light." Ra, the Law of One. End of quote. Right, so that one is nice, and it is a little bit confusing to some, because I know if I post it on Instagram, often it'll kind of get some questions. So let's go into it. First of all, we might want to talk about what does it mean to not have a variant apparent incarnational experience. So they say, "The seeker which has purely chosen the service to others' paths shall certainly not have a variant apparent incarnational experience." I interpret that as it's not going to be necessarily very special or out of the ordinary even. You are still very much going to have an incarnation like most of the other humans would on this planet. You are a human being. You may seek and become very balanced and all of that, but you are still a human, and you have a third density body, and with that comes third density lessons. So you are going to still just have a fairly normal life, although within that normal life, I would imagine if you are seeking, you will be experiencing infinity in an infinite amount of ways. So then they continue on. "There is no outward shelter in your illusion from the gusts, flurries, and blizzards of quick and cruel catalyst." So same thing, even though you may be a perfectly balanced entity, you are still going to be subject to bad things happening to you, if you will. I mean, it doesn't have to be bad things. Catalysts can be in infinite forms, but generally we would probably categorize things that we don't want to happen to us as bad, and therefore that would be some sort of catalyst. So now, how can we transform that bad to good? Well, that is what they're saying in the last part of this quote, which is, "However, to the pure, all that is encountered speaks of the love and light of the one infinite creator. The cruelest blow is seen with the ambience of challenges offered and opportunities to come." So within the nature of oneness, everything being the creator, no matter what you do or interact with or say or encounter, all of that is the creator. So if you go into the experience knowing that, maybe not actually knowing it, but sort of knowing it, taking it on faith, then you can see how everything that may be bad that happens to you is just something of an opportunity for you to learn. It's an opportunity for you to make a different choice later. It's an opportunity for you to learn from that choice that you just made now. What was the outcome of it? Did it work out the way you thought it was going to? Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. So really, there is no failure to somebody who's willing to learn. In failure is opportunity, and within opportunity is learning, and you get to just attempt again. Ra even indicates in other parts of the material how they will kind of talk about this as an honor duty. So even though Ra being the extraterrestrial entity, if you will, maybe they have interfered in other planets or other people's lives or other planets' spiritual evolution, they would we may consider those types of things failures. They would consider those an honor duty, because there is no failure. They also talk about how there are no mistakes, there are only surprises. So I wanted to add on another quote where Rob points this out specifically, where they're talking about their seemingly failed attempts at serving. So in session 2310, they say, quote, "We ask you to remember that we are of the brothers and sisters of sorrow. When one has been rescued from that sorrow to a vision of the one Creator, then there is no concept of failure. Our difficulty lay in the honor responsibility of correcting the distortions of the law of one which occurred during our attempts to aid these entities. The distortions are seen as responsibilities rather than failures. The few who are inspired to seek for our only reason the attempt." So, they would see their attempts to serve, and they would see the good and the bad, and they would recognize the bad parts of it, but not just seeing them as bad and all, that's nothing we can do about that, right? We move forward, we learn, failure is opportunity. And this even happened to me today, just before I recorded this podcast. I had a little bit of an opportunity to experience this where my significant other, we had a moment of, I suppose we would call it miscommunication, that began to sour and led to a bit of, like a bit of an argument, or not even an argument, just a souring of the energy. I could feel it. I had the opportunity to just ignore it and sort of be angry and all of that. However, and even if I did that and I reflected later, it still wouldn't necessarily be a failure. But what I did is I had the opportunity to just ask that person, hey, I can see that this has caused some friction between us. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out in the open. Let's do it. And it was hard, and the conversation was difficult, and it wasn't necessarily going great the whole time. But if you're open and honest with the person, and I was able to sort of take a bad thing, if you will, and smooth it out into something positive, where we both now are on a more deeper, truthful, connected level. We're on the same page, if you will, than we were before. So, I don't know, just a quick just share of my personal life, I suppose. I was literally sitting with this quote in front of me as it was playing out in front of my face in my real life. So, I don't know, I just find that interesting how, these concepts can be applied anywhere, all the time, anytime. Okay, so I think that's good for today. Just remember, there are no mistakes, but there are surprises. Thank you for listening, everyone. Once again, my website, theoneinfinitecreator.com, and feel free to get links to all this information. You can download the raw material for free. All right, love you guys. Have a good one.